From the shadows of the everyday comes something darker. You're listening to Dark Lullabies, twisted bedtime stories for adults, written by Penelope Ann Ashbourne. Settle in, keep the lights low, and don't forget, some lullabies were never meant to soothe. The Monastery of St. Benedict stood isolated at the crest of a distant mist-shrouded hill, enveloped by forests of ancient pines that whispered endlessly in the chill of twilight. Its towering stone walls were pale as bone beneath the fading dusk, riddled with ivy whose leaves trembled subtly as if touched by unseen fingers. A solitary bell tolled mournfully, resonating through corridors and cloisters, reverberating off worn cobblestones polished smooth by centuries of solemn footsteps. Brother Elias arrived at dusk, his breath clouding in the air, chilled despite the thickness of his woolen robe. Elias was a scholar from a distant abbey, renowned for his expertise in ancient manuscripts and forgotten religious rites. Summoned by an urgent letter from the monastery's abbot, he had journeyed here seeking answers to a troubling mystery. Monks had vanished without a trace, their disappearances followed by whispers of a dark presence haunting the cloisters. His lantern cast uncertain, flickering shadows as he ascended the stone steps, worn concave by countless pilgrims before him. The heavy oak door groaned in welcome, revealing a hallway whose darkness seemed to deepen rather than retreat in the lantern's wavering glow. Inside, the air was dense, thick with the lingering scent of incense, wax candles, and something older, less easily defined, a mustiness tinged with age and secrets long kept silent. Elias's footsteps echoed softly as he walked deeper into the monastery's heart, passing murals whose paint had faded, their saintly figures distorted and strange in the half-light. He felt their painted eyes follow him, full of quiet accusation, as he moved past. The brothers who greeted him were silent, their faces shrouded in hoods, their voices little more than whispers, blending seamlessly with the rustling of robes and distant chants. He was led to a small, austere chamber, barren, save for a wooden cot, a narrow desk, and a window of stained glass dulled by grime, through which the moonlight struggled feebly to enter. Later that night, sleep came uneasily to Elias. His dreams were haunted by a murmur of indistinct voices and fleeting visions of figures drifting down shadowed corridors. He woke repeatedly to a silence so profound it felt like a tangible presence pressing heavily upon him in the darkness. On one such waking, his attention was drawn to a muted scratching at the walls, delicate, persistent, and rhythmic, as though the stones themselves sought to whisper their secrets. Days passed in slow, monotonous routine, yet each night grew heavier, burdened with an intangible dread. Elias began noticing subtle oddities, the furtive glances among the monks, the hesitations in their chanting, and occasional sudden silences that hung thick and expectant, broken only by a gentle, barely perceptible sighing in the walls. One evening, driven by the desperate need to unravel the mystery of the missing monks and the source of the monastery's dark aura, Elias wandered alone into the monastery library, an ancient repository of forbidden knowledge kept locked behind iron-bound doors. There, among shelves bowed under the weight of centuries-old tomes, he discovered a manuscript bound in cracked leather, its pages yellowed, brittle, and inked with cryptic writings in faded Latin. As Elias carefully turned the fragile pages, he recognized familiar yet obscure rituals described in trembling script. The summoning of presences, communications beyond the veil, and dark rites performed in cloistered secrecy. A sense of cold foreboding rose within him, amplified by the creeping sensation of being observed, of something waiting patiently within the shadows. Late that night, driven by a compulsion stronger than fear, and determined to uncover the monastery's terrible secret, Elias followed the gentle whispers that echoed faintly through the silent halls. His lantern's light was swallowed greedily by the oppressive gloom, shadows reaching hungrily from doorways, beckoning him onward. He descended into the catacombs beneath the monastery, winding through narrow passages carved from living rock. The air becoming heavier, thicker, permeated with a sickly sweet odour of decay. There, beneath vaulted ceilings of rough-hewn stone, he discovered the monks gathered in a silent circle, faces pale and drawn, eyes hollow yet fervently bright, whispering ancient words that resonated chillingly in the air. At their centre lay an open stone sarcophagus, within which a figure stirred softly beneath a shroud of heavy linen stained darkly with age and corruption. Elias felt his pulse quicken, dread knotting his stomach, yet he remained rooted in fascination and terror as the chanting grew louder, more insistent, rising to an unsettling crescendo. Slowly the shrouded figure sat upright, cloth slipping away to reveal features obscured yet unmistakably wrong, twisted in silent agony, hollow eyes reflecting an abyss deeper than death. As it turned its terrible gaze upon Elias, he understood with heart-stopping clarity that he had been summoned here not by chance but by ancient design, chosen to witness a truth never meant to be known, forever bound to the monastery's dark and unending vigil. Unable to move, Elias watched as the monks drew closer, their chanting now a cacophony of desperation and dread. The figure rose fully from its stone prison, an entity neither fully alive nor dead, the air around it shimmering with malevolence. As it stepped forward, the monks fell to their knees in fearful reverence, their voices breaking into sobs and pleas for mercy. The creature's gaze locked onto Elias, holding him immobile, its terrible eyes piercing through him, unearthing fears and secrets buried deep within his soul. With slow, deliberate steps it approached, and Elias felt his very breath stolen from his lungs, replaced by a profound coldness that seeped into his bones. With its touch, reality fractured, plunging Elias into an eternal twilight, his consciousness merging with the monastery itself. He became part of the whispers in the walls, the soft scratching in the stone, the sighs in the darkness, a guardian of secrets too terrifying to be spoken, forever haunting the monastery on the mist-shrouded hill. That was just one of many shadows from the mind of Penelope Ann Ashbourne. If you enjoyed this story, you'll find even more twisted bedtime tales in her book Dark Lullabies, available now on Amazon. The link is in the description. Until next time, sleep well.